On the trailer here, there's a few things you want to be aware of. Where you put your boards, your straps, so you don't trip and fall. It's a good idea to keep your trailer free and clear of debris, blocking, chains, so on and so forth. It's just a good safety habit so you don't fall off side of the trailer. When moving around, be aware that you are off the ground, that you don't back off the trailer in different directions. Keep your cell phone in the cab of the truck, probably be your best bet. Here's some blocking here that's provided by Eaton Steel. This is to go in between the bundles. Today, the stuff that I'll be loading is going to be spacing every 2. Loaders will tell you if it's spaced every 1, 2, if there's any spacing needed at all. But basically, we're going to set these in between the bundles at the front and the back, closest to our leading and ending strap. As the steel is coming in, it's very wise to be standing in front of it, not necessarily on either side. When it sets down, the steel can fan out or slip off the blocks. The straps will prevent it from going the rest of the way. But if you're standing next to it in a pinch point where you don't want to be, either you have to jump off the trailer to get away from it if something drastic happens, or it's going to roll down and land on your foot. So it's very wise to stay in front or behind the steel. There's less movement that way. It's hard for a 12-foot bundle to fall forward or backwards. It's easy to fall to the side. At this point, you're going to take your steel and pick a point in the floor. This is going to be the center of our load. 2 bundles in the middle, 2 on the right, and 2 on the left. You want to pick a point in the floor perpendicular with your trailer, and that's where we'll start putting our steel. The more even that becomes, the easier it is to install this bulkhead that we have laying here on the floor. So at this point, we're going to line it up in the middle. Go that way a little more. A little more, Chris. A little more. Oh. Forward. Forward. Keep coming. A little more. Right there. We'll set the front down. Okay. At this point, I'm going to take a look at it down the side, make sure it's straight on the trailer with possibly one of the ribs. Looks real good. So we're going to cut it loose. Hook on the front strap. Install one of our spacers that we're going to be using. Basically do the same thing out here in the back. Stay here until it's taut, and usually come back to the front of the trailer. Bring that up. Oh. Little old Chuck. All right, we're gonna bring that again. Like I said, draw this perpendicular line on the trailer. Get her down close. A little forward. That's good. Come on over, Chris. And down. Just a minute. At this point, you want to make sure your spacers are set tight. The back one's not tight yet. So that's a simple adjustment of the back. Let's do the back there, Chris. There we go. Probably the same thing for the front. And down. Now both spacers are tight. Watch front and there we go. Now if I was loading a turn and polish or anything longer, 16-foot cold drawn, 20-foot turn and polish, single bars, big bars, I would start with those in the middle, even if they are a little bit lower than the freight. The The choking of the straps and the wood next to them is going to keep them from rolling off the trailer. You always want to put yourself in a position when you're unloading that big bar, or when you undo your straps, is not going to roll in your lap. Okay, here's the main reason for the bulkheads. This steel is cold drawn. It always has oil on it, prevent rust inhibitor, and it moves very easily like that. So just vibration, stepping on the brakes, speeding up, slowing down, steep incline takeoffs cause it to telescope forward and back. That's why it's extremely important to have it level as possible on a trailer. If anything, pitching a little bit forward. When we install our bulkhead later, you'll see why pitching it just a hair forward so it vibrates itself tight is the best way. Once again, we're gonna stand in front, bring the steel in with a perpendicular line with the other two bundles. So at this point, normally what I do is I have this strap that's center, ready to go. And this is a choke strap. This is why we wanted it extra long. It's going to go around, underneath, and hook on the other side. Which would be the same with the front. So the same thing as we did in the back, as in the front. We get that set. By doing that, when we ultimately tighten down, it pulls from the right and the left and down on the freight. It also tightens up if there's any possible gaps in these blocks here. The last thing to go on will be the bulkhead that we talked about to stop the telescoping. Good communication with your crane operator is the key to being safe. Make sure he's not doing one thing while you're doing another. Keep your hands and feet and everything away from the inside of the straps or pinch points in other areas with the steel. We're using 3 straps on 24,000 pounds. The straps are at 5,400 pounds working load limit. Working load limit is 50% of what your weight is that you're tying down. So if we're at 24,000 pounds, we have to have 12,000 pounds worth of strap. 2 straps is only 10/8. So we're not gonna get it, we have to put a 3rd strap on. So on 24,000 pounds, 3 straps, it's gonna be a little bit of extra. Extra doesn't hurt. We're gonna have a sequence. The front and the back are choked, and this one is just center over the middle. The front and back choking strap should be tightened first, and then tighten this one last. The reason for that is, as you choke them, it's gonna pull them closer to the spacers. You definitely wanna keep your spacers in place so that you can get to where you're going. They can unload it with a crane also and have the spacing. It also will change the integrity of some of the bundles. The bundle's somewhat loose, so it'll actually pull it down. The end bundles, pull them down and make them a little tighter. If you tighten the middle strap first and then do your choke straps after the fact, it could cause the middle strap to be loose and then useless. When tightening up a choke strap, sometimes it may seem like it's tight. You have to give it that little extra bit because you'll feel it pull together. It's a good idea to walk in front and behind. Make sure that you pulled your spacers tight. As you push down a bar, this type of application, you can feel it. You can feel the steel in the trailer getting a little tighter. And there'll be a point where it'll be tight. And that is it. Go to the back one, do the same thing.